Alright, so, from Wet Scream, so just to set this up, now there's a big Halloween party taking place at the barn, at the farmhouse where the local coven lives, and they've been keeping a secret. They're hiding away to a gay couple who is actually werewolves. So they're going to, present them to the party of men tonight and say, look, we have werewolves in town, but they're not bad werewolves, they're good werewolves. So we'll see how that turns out. But in the meantime, they also don't know that there's a demon that's basically using astral projection as a means of getting to men and killing them. So this is a scene where this man at the party, there's drama, it's a gay party at Halloween, so there's drama. So this guy named Tony is having a fight with his sort of boyfriend, Chucky, who has shown up at the party with another man, a stoner. So Tony, of course, runs out of the party, wow, all the way home. But no, he doesn't. He goes over to the barn in the back of the house. So here we go. Oh, and his name's Landscaper Tony, because he's the landscaper. So, I'm going to do this. Finding the big barn doors locked, Landscaper Tony hastily circled the building in the direction the naked figure had gone. Oh, because he sees this naked figure standing at the barn. And it runs off, so screw that. Okay, so moments later, he found a gap and slipped through. This is in the barn. It was dark inside, but light was coming from around a wooden slat wall that divided the barn in half, so he was able to avoid any pitfalls as he headed for the other side. What the fuck, he spat, startled as a naked silhouette appeared in the doorway between opposing ends of the barn. He squinted for a second. You? The naked figure shrugged with a painted-on smile. You want to fuck with me? Tony moved closer to the figure. In case you didn't know, me and Chucky are kind of together. Now, this naked figure he sees he thinks is the stoner. Because it looks like the stoner. The figure just stood there. Chucky, he's the guy you came here with. The naked figure signaled with one hand, then disappeared through the doorway. Wait up! Tony wondered if he was about to discover this dude in there fucking with Chucky. If a threesome was Chucky's idea of makeup sex, he wasn't sure he wanted to reconcile. When he stepped into the lantern-lit open space, there was no sign of the man. A huge metal cage sat in the middle of the room. Although Tony's heart raced in surprise, he immediately assumed the naked, bloody body slumped against the bars was yet another mood setter for the holiday party. He moved slowly closer to it. Oh, come on, I'm scared, okay? Chucky, if you're in on this, I'm going to be pissed. As scared as he was almost ecstatic at the possibility that Chucky's apparent hookup was a plan for a really elaborate prank. He would welcome a few minutes of terror if it meant Chucky hadn't come to the party with a date. There was heavy pitter-patter on the platform overhead. Oh, this sucks. Tony knew he had to go through with it and let them scare the shit out of him. He strained to hear whispering or laughter. The closer he got to the grisly display leaning against the big cage, the more he was convinced something was very wrong here, and that his mind was not just fucking with him. The most significant indication was the bushy, bronze-colored beard. Even if it was soaked in crimson liquid that dripped from two gouged eye sockets, he recognized that beard. Jeff? Tony nearly choked on his heart as it throbbed in his throat. The body wasn't fake. It was his friend Jeff. Two hoofs dropped down on the ground in front of him with a loud thud. He stared into a face that closely resembled that of the guy who had come to the party with Chucky. The eyes glowed an eerie iridescent green that seemed to come from behind the irises. Lips curled, revealing jagged teeth covered in bubbles of saliva. Animal haunches had replaced human legs. This was no joke. A demon hand lifted in the air to reveal pin-like nails splitting through fingertips. Stumbling backward to avoid the downward swing of the demon's arm, Tony tripped over his friend Jeff's corpse. I'll stop there. Okay, this is from the slasher. So this plays off all the, like I said, all the cliches of horror movies. So slasher movies. So this little mini chapter is called "The Black Guy Always Gets Creamed First." So originally I described him as a Lenny Kravitz look-alike because yummy, and I decided to change that and to objectify him even more by just calling him Mocha Man. So Mocha Man is in the The town is called Derriere. Derryair. And this coffee shop is called Derriere Grind. So he's in the bathroom. He's just had an encounter in the bathroom. The luscious mocha man quickly locked the door of one of the Derriere Grind restrooms after letting his hunky trick out. He hadn't gotten the gorgeous goatee man's name, but he'd gotten what he wanted. He'd been hearing plenty of stories about how hot and horny the new daddy in town was, and had spent days trying to run into him so he could get a taste. He hadn't believed his luck when he walked into the coffee shop to find the daddy right there like a sitting dick. Rather duck. No, actually dick. Mocha Man walked over to the sink, his snug jeans hugging naturally thick, slightly bowed legs that gave him an incredibly masculine swagger. Lenny Kravitz. He looked in the mirror. Glints of light reflected off the substance covering his face. He smiled. That man could give me a facial anytime. The thick gobs of goo coagulated on his flawless features like hardening wax. The pearly whiteness made his piercing dark chocolate eyes pop. He put his index fingers into the puddles on either cheek and began massaging the substance evenly over his sharp features. He firmly believed that semen was what kept his skin looking so taut and smooth. Not to mention he got off on being a human cum rag. After the cream was evenly spread as a thin mass no one would be able to notice, he slipped his fingers between his pouting puffy lips and orally cleaned them. He hummed with a unique, salty, bitter combo on his tongue, edible facial cream. Above the toilet bowl in the bathroom, an awning-style window was left open year-round to keep the constant stench of testosterone to a minimum in the confined space. Mocha Man nearly jumped out of his skin, actually out of his facial cream. Behind his reflection in the mirror, a black face was peering through the window. It was Gimp Face. Now, Gimp Face is the killer. Gimp Face wears a gimp mask and has a long, black sheet. Mocha Man spun in shock, wondering how long the combination scary, sexy face had been peeping at him. Holy Halloween scare! Gimp Face gave the illusion of being disembodied, like it was just floating outside the window. It didn't respond. Yo, you just an early trick-or-treater, or are you some kind of kinky voyeur? Gimp Face nodded. You like to watch? Mocha Man smiled brightly when Gimp Face nodded again. So I guess you know what I'm into. Gimp Face nodded vigorously. Well, why don't you climb on in here? Gimp Face's head flickered back twice. You want me to come over there? Gimp Face nodded slowly. You gonna crane me right through the window? Gimp Face nodded frantically, as if about to prematurely ejaculate at the mere thought of it. Mocha Man hurried to the toilet bowl. Placing one booted foot on the seat, he reached up and grabbed the window ledge. He used the leverage to completely mount the seat, which shifted under his weight. He almost fell off, but was able to steady himself. He was now the perfect height to stick his head through the open window, but Gimp Face had disappeared. Where you at? He felt the chilly outside air quickly drying his cream layer. Below him was a large garbage bin. The only movement in the alley was that of wind whipped leaves and litter. His trick was nowhere to be found. Where'd he go? Mocha Man's muscular build made it easy for him to lift himself up and out the window. But he still came down on one of the garbage bin's two metal lids with a thud. He barely had a chance to glance down the alley before the second lid of the garbage bin swung up, smashing against the wall of the building. Shit! Mocha Man cried, still crouched on the closed lid. He stared into the blackness of the open half. Hello? Are you in there? The only sounds were the distant squeals of trick-or-treaters out on the street somewhere, a mystery somewhere he couldn't see. The comfort of innocent, joyful children in costumes could be just at the end of the alley or blocks away. While this isolated spot was usually perfect for a hookup, there was something incredibly unnerving about its shadowy corners on Halloween day. Staring intently at the dark compartment, Mocha Man breathed heavily. Are you fucking with me? Sweat broke out on his pores, and he could feel it melting his facial mask. Damn it! Mocha Man looked up at the window. He was just about ready to climb back inside when he heard a faint purr coming from the open bin. It was echoey and loaded with seductive crows. He smiled. You are such a tease. Part of him was puzzled as to why a guy would want to play hide-and-seek in a stinky garbage bin before a sexual encounter. The other part of him was too intrigued to walk away from this without seeing what the guy had to offer. He slowly leaned forward to get a look inside the bin. Stop there.